All right, jumping in today to, of course, Shiba and Doge again as we continue to cover this story and really whether or not Shiba is set for a market crash. And I think a lot of people already think that. My name is Paul Barron. Welcome back to TechPath. For all you Shiba lovers and Dogecoin meme coin lovers out there, this must be the Super Bowl season for you guys. And I think when you look at what we're seeing, both from the frenzy in the market, also what's happening within the retail ecosystem of these meme coins, and then within the sentiment layer, some very interesting data is starting to reveal. So we're going to dive into that a little deeper today and get into some of the charts to help you guys kind of understand whether or not maybe is it time to get out of Shiba? Is it time to take a relook at it? We just reported on this yesterday. Shiba was at an all-time high in terms of their overall sentiment. Spoiler alert, that has changed. The big question is, can Doge rebound and reposition itself in terms of the market cap run up? That's going to be the big question I think we're going to see an answer today. Before we get into that, let's take a quick look over at CoinMarketCap. Kind of curious if you guys were having problems with CoinMarketCap because we saw some movement down, getting ready to crack right back into the $2.6 trillion mark. Volume holding at 173 billion, and Bitcoin's dominance up a little bit, 44.6. ETH also cracked into 19% right up here. If you guys don't follow this site very often, you should check it out because it's going to give you a little bit more of that kind of overall viewpoint. When you look at what's happening within Bitcoin, and Bitcoin, of course, did have a correction down to almost 58, I think was the low yesterday. And now it has rebounded up to 61K, up 4% in the last 24 hours. Ethereum, of course, also in that same camp, which came back from about a 38.50 mark, which is now trailing, or I should say booming back into 41.80 as of time of recording. So nice movement there. But the big story is really kind of this shift right here. Back and forth these two go in terms of overall market cap right now at 41 billion, and of course Mr. SHIB is holding in at 40 billion right now. Likelihood is we're going to see a little bit of this movement, but it's interesting because when we pulled the data this morning, Shiba still had the position on Dogecoin in terms of their overall market cap. Doge, of course, had a big rise here recently and absolutely kind of unhitched the dog chain, and things got a little different. And I want to jump into a couple of stories to kind of give you guys some examples. And we are going to be using a new tool on the show today that we've been we've used it in the past and over time. The thing that we like to do, or I like to do, is compare various types of technical analysis tools. So you'll see us do things within TradingView, with Market Cipher. We used to use Trade the Chain a little bit on sentiment. Unfortunately, I just didn't see the real connection to what our data was showing. A lot of times it just was a mismatch. So we were trying to find something that would give us a little bit more uniqueness in terms of how to measure and compare what's happening in the marketplace with where we see projects going and how they trace against. Not saying that we're looking for complete validity there, but we always do want to have a valid point of your data and your research at least to look to. And if it shows, because if we're right, then you need a point that says you're right, versus if someone's saying you're wrong on a particular project and you are right, then you get how I'm talking about. It's a big dance. So we are going to try to use some new tools on that, and we'll be revealing those tools here on the show. One of them is Token Metrics, and Token Metrics, of course, is a show partner. Full disclosure, we get a little bit of support from Token Metrics when you guys participate in joining Token Metrics, and we'll share a little bit more about what you can do to get into that. But let's jump over to the first story, and that, of course, is the basically the crazy movement that we've seen. Now, amid wild speculation, popular trading app Robinhood could add support for Shiba, and if that does happen, then I anticipate we'll see another big move and war. Now, the question is whether or not all of this Shiba and Doge meme coin transactions and activity is good for the market. And I think, if you look at the NFT gaming space, if you look at the primary level layer ones, obviously you look at Bitcoin and what's happening with Ethereum, For the most part, you're going to see some of the newbies coming into the market. If you're watching this show, maybe for the first time as you just invested in Shiba yesterday on Coinbase or something like that, then what this show is designed to do is help you kind of graduate into the rest of the cryptocurrency space, because there's a lot of different projects in the blockchain world that are real use case scenarios. I know many of the SHIB people, and I listen, I'll be the first to tell you, I need to do a lot more research in understanding Shiba because I've not ever owned the token. I've reported on it a lot, but I analyze it based on sentiment. And that is really kind of, I pull myself away from it. I have nothing to gain or win or lose here. The key is understanding how that sentiment works. But my point here is that when you look at the rest of the market and where Shiba and Doge really affect it, it does suck the wind out of the room when you see these kind of volumes coming into the space. I mean, you have 2 meme coins in the top 10. That's pretty impressive in the sense that these are projects that are essentially taking all the air from the room or in the party. And I think that in itself causes a little bit of pain on some of the top altcoins. It also causes a little bit of pain to a certain extent on even Bitcoin and on Ethereum. Now remember, last time these two coins were doing these kind of pumps and the dog coins were getting these kind of investment levels was the last time we saw an all-time high with Bitcoin. Now, hopefully that is not the case here, but really the question is has and will we see this kind of diversion in the marketplace because of these meme coins kind of spoil maybe a bull run? We'll see how this rolls out. I personally think, and looking at the data, is that we're still in the early stages of this bull run. We still have a little bit going, even though we're now nearing November, 60 days away. We've got a quick ramp up, which continues to get to the thesis of that Bitcoin and Ethereum may move into Q1 for all-time highs. So that is going to be a very interesting scenario because it does, I think it will start to validate that the cycle in terms of how we've seen these 4-year cycles run, that these cycles may have been at least modified, maybe not broken, but definitely modified dramatically. And I think that's going to be a big key. And of course, you have to remember, Shiba, Dogecoin, those things, of course, they weren't causing these kind of effects in the last cycles. So these actually have, anytime you have a meme coin project, just like AMC, if you look at what AMC did to the stock market and the impact it had, don't tell me that you can't have meme coins do the same thing in the crypto space. So that's going to be something to keep a big eye on. Over to another quick story here from Market Insider. This is basically Shiba Inu, of course, jumping up 22%, another record after crypto whale buys 277 billion in tokens. Now, don't freak out because that's basically $15 million. So, and I know 15 million is a lot, but when you look at a market cap that's hovering where Shiba is right now, let's see if it's surpassed. Yep, still $40 billion right now in that market cap. When you have that kind of market cap, it's not necessarily a big deal for a whale to move on this, because even if they were to move off of it, I think this is more about sentiment, the water cooler, the network effect, more than anything. And what it does signal to me, and this is where I would argue with some people on how and if this affects the marketplace. And in certain elements, there's two things that can happen here. One, it's bringing a massive flood of new investors into crypto, meaning into Shiba. And that's the FOMO aspect. It's probably a lot of young investors, and that's not a bad thing for young people. I'm just saying they get this, they understand memes, so they understand how to invest in that. My point, is being around this is that if we see a lot of these investors coming in, maybe in the hundreds of thousands, if not millions of new investors coming into the space, the question is if Shiba crashes, when Shiba crashes, and we see that correction, will they leave the space, or will the winners take their bags and start looking for the next big run? Obviously, maybe they're going to look into traditional layer ones, or maybe into some of the NFT gaming projects, which I think would probably be the natural fit. I think NFT gaming wins on this, and maybe layer ones lose, which could affect our altcoin season. And I know that's crazy to say, but this is the kind of storm that we are weathering right now in the cryptocurrency space. But when you look at the numbers here, Shiba Inu surged over 20%, record high of basically triple lot 48.53 on Tuesday. That was where it was basically overtaking Doge at the 11th largest cryptocurrency and a market value of 18 billion. That, of course, now has over doubled overnight. So just to show you how fast things move here, it's not a funny scenario. This is something to really take serious. The move, though, was sparked Monday evening after an anonymous crypto whale purchased 276 billion in tokens for about 11.5 million, according to the data from the Whale Stats. If you follow Whale Stats, which tracks the activity of about 1,000 of the largest Ether wallets. And that is really what kind of got the tilt going, and it started moving that. And then, of course, FOMO is what brought the retail investors in, and that's what we're seeing in terms of transaction numbers. The transaction numbers are absolutely skyrocketing in and on Shiba Inu. I want to jump to token metrics because this is going to give us a little thing. And again, as I said, we use tools like this, and for you guys to give you a quick rundown, there's a handful of tools out there, and I think you should try them all because maybe certain tools are going to be better for you. So there's tools like Trade the Chain that we've used in the past. Then there's token metrics, which gets into a lot more analytics, which is really why I like it. It also gets into the sentiment side of things, which is another thing we can cross-compare on sentiment data. And then they have this thing called the TM grade right here, which is just the token metric grade. This is kind of like an overall rating, so it's got tokenomics built into it, sentiment built into it. There's a lot of things that help within that grade that help you understand whether a project should be looked at both from a meme standpoint or from an overall performance standpoint when it comes to tokenomics, when it looks at the overall project layer itself in terms of who are the founders, what is the project doing. All those kind of things are going into token metrics, which I really like that aspect of it. The other project out there that does this is Masari. Now, Masari is a good one as well. I like it. It's a little, it doesn't go into the layer of predicting and giving you forecasts. That's the scenario. It is going to on-chain data. And then we have Into the Block, kind of has done those things as well. We've tried them all. We've tried them all. And we utilize our two tools right now in the house, of course, is the Crypto Power Index, which is our own product. It's what we look at when we look at sentiment on TradingView every day when we give you guys and come to you guys with that. And then the new one, of course, and I shouldn't say new because we've been using it for quite a while, token metrics. But with some of the new features they have, this is really cool. So let's go to their overall here. And if you look at kind of what you're going to see here, you're going to see the price change, obviously the current price. Trading signal is very interesting because this gives you that bullish, bearish scenario here. And this, of course, is the top token metric. These are ranked out by metric grades. And you can kind of see Solana. This is one that is really impressing me in terms of where Solana is going. Very powerful in terms of layer one, and obviously on Solana in general. We just did a video on this one. Solana has got such an opportunity here. Remember, Solana is still beta, and they are and potentially will have some issues with developers, getting those developers in. I talked a little bit about that, but that's something that you can do. But the reason I wanted you to see this is right here, Shiba Inu, which is running at 90.5 on their token metrics ranking and grade. That's a very high score for a project like Shiba. So for it to see this kind of ranking, and we still see obviously the up percentage, but the bullish buy percentage and signal is still currently on with token metrics. Now this is where we get into a little bit of detail around when you look at some of these scenarios like this. This is just giving it the overall here, but I want to look at the 14-day here. So you've got the 1 hour, the 7-day, 14-day, 30-day, and what potential opportunity is here. Monthly grade, 82.64, the weekly grade, 86.65. And what you can do with this tool is start to compare other tokens. So maybe if you're a Doge or another meme coin token buyer, or maybe you're doing NFT gaming research and you want to start going into that route, this is a great tool to kind of compare their token metrics grade against others, which is basically kind of the quantitative and the technical analysis ratio that they use to score that. Now, to answer the question, is Shiba going to fly or is Shiba going to drop? Let me jump over here to two charts that we pulled yesterday. This is the Dogecoin. Let me jump over here to Shiba so we can move it around a little bit. All right, so yesterday we scored and we were seeing this kind of movement right here. Actually, it was a few days ago. We scored this date. When was this one? This one was on the 27th. Sentiment had pulled in at 78.91 and an AMP of 75.55. And now that was during this little rise right here. We had this market correction last night and of course a little bit of sideways chop here. But look at the difference between these two numbers right now. Sentiment still holding above 70, which is still a very good score for any coin, but dropping dramatically from where it was just yesterday. But the big one that worries me the most is this guy right here. Amplification has dropped dramatically on Shiba Inu. So does that mean we are going to see a lot of sideways action and still maybe some up and some residual? I think that's a possibility when you look at where this is going. But right now, we potentially see Shiba dropping quite a bit. And of course, maybe back down here to where it had dipped just earlier in the day. So likely is that we're going to continue to see some downward trends here on Shiba Inu. Unless, of course, the Shiba Inu tribe or pound is pushing this project continuously even more. I don't know. We're gonna continue to track these very closely, and these are very interesting projects, just like Dogecoin, that are very hard to track because of the volatility. This is volatile beyond volatile. When you look at Bitcoin, Bitcoin is a stroll in the park compared to what you see in terms of the data flow coming at us with both Doge and Shiba. So very interesting. Now let's take a look at Dogecoin. Same kind of scenario here, but Doge, of course, has held very strong. We haven't seen the dip that we had seen right here with the sideways action. Doge basically recovered quite a bit. It had come up here to what was almost, might have been one of its, over the past 3 months, high at 33 cents and pushed very strong and has been holding at that big jump. Big moves right here. Sentiment, of course, 79.01 or 79.06. And amplification holding it at 77.11. So comparison, when you look at the two, this is a big deal for Doge to be sitting here at 79.06 and Shiba basically falling to 71.45. So does this tell me that we are looking for a potential crash or market correction, shall we call it, with Shiba? It looks that way right now, at least when we see these trends. And I think a lot of people are really anticipating that because obviously these things will have their run, then they'll back off, then that's a great buying opportunity and this works the same way in many of the altcoins, so it is something that you want to keep a track on. We are watching Doge very closely though, and I think the Dogecoin investors are probably a little bit more accustomed to this because they've seen this dance many times. The other thing that is different this time is I feel like we have not seen that influencer effect on either one of these meme coins in this particular cycle. What that means is we could be seeing resiliency from the retail investor in the meme coin side of things. Because if you could also, when you think of consumer psychology, I've been doing a lot of consumer science for the last decade, and understanding how consumers react to certain things within the retail market space is very interesting. And a lot of times that's what can really drive markets or brand exposure in many cases. What becomes viral? Why does a pair of sneakers jump? What happens when a restaurant brand or something like that gets rolling? What happens when you have something that just becomes pop culture, whether it's game, doesn't really matter. The cycle and the psychology is still the same. And I think that's what we're dealing with here with Doge and also with SHIB. And that is that we've got two major meme coins, both of which are fighting it out. The likelihood is Shiba is going to be on a bit of a decline. And I think we're going to see Doge come back into place right here in terms of one of the leading dog coins. So we're going to stay very closely on this and keep you guys tuned in. Don't forget, make sure and get involved in our Diamond Circle. It's free for you guys to do it. We are going to be doing a big giveaway, by the way, on November 2nd. My birthday is, and we're going to give away some stuff. We're going to give away some great digital assets to you. And all you have to do is join. It's free to join. You guys also will get drops from us on analysis like this on different projects. You know, a lot more of the more late breaking projects, things maybe that you're more interested in versus meme coins. But make sure if you have some ideas and projects that you'd like us to check out, make sure and drop them in the comments below. We always love to get that feedback. And it's really a good place for us to understand what the audience is really looking to do. All right. Catch us next time. It's real simple. You want to hit me up on Twitter, it's @Paul Barron. We'll catch you next time right here on TechPath.